TCM shop.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Thanks so much for joining us. And you'll be glad you did join us because we have a double feature coming up starring a good friend of ours here at TCM, Robert Wagner. The first film is one he made very early in his career. The second one made after he'd become a major star. And for a special treat, we have Robert Wagner here to talk with me about the movies. Welcome, Mr. Wagner.
Thanks very much, Robert.
It's so nice to have you here.
I'm so delighted to be here. I love this show, and
thank you.
And you're the best.
Thank you, sir.
The very best.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad you're prejudiced, but thank you. Now, the first film is from 1952, directed by Walter Lang. And it was a huge hit for Susan Hayward, who stars in it, and did a great deal for Mr. Wagner. What was only his sixth film appearance. This movie is one we've never shown on TCM before, With a Song in My Heart. Now, let's talk about this. You were a contract actor at 20th Century Fox.
Yes.
You made small appearances in these previous 5 films, and you did this movie, and it's not a big part, but it is a sensational part.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yes, indeed. I remember so vividly seeing it, and you come away from that movie really remembering you in that film, in that small part.
You know, Robert, that's what Daryl Zanuck said would happen. You know, if the picture had been responded to as positively as it had been, the people would walk out of the theater and say, who was that guy?
Did you have any hesitation about doing such a small part?
Not really. You know, I said to Mr. Zanuck, I said, you know, I've only got a couple of lines in the picture. I mean, Daryl, you know, I mean, he said, believe me, if this is done the way that I think it should be and the way it will be done, there'll be a tremendous response to you. And he was right. And Walter Lang was so wonderful to me, and Susan Hayward was just
tell a little about Susan Hayward. I always loved
she was so great. You know, she was really a wonderful lady.
And you worked with her in both your scenes. I mean, very closely.
Both of them. Well, my character was built based on a true person.
Really?
Yeah, and
because Jane Froman, that Susan Hayward plays in this movie, was a real singer.
Oh yes.
Real actress, and what happens to Susan Hayward in this movie really happened to Jane Froman.
Yes, and then I think, you know, a lot of that, when I had my second scene with her, they knew that I was going to go through the same kind of agony and depressions and trying to get back on my...
That your character was going through and that her character was going through.
It was a wonderful role. And Walter Lang, as I said, was so great to me. I mean, he just took such marvelous care of me, and he spent a lot of time talking to me and getting me into the right attitude and the right mood with it, because it could have been too much. You know, it could have been too much. And he had that wonderful eye and that wonderful ability of being able to, you know, just have it be just the way he wanted it. And I'll tell you, Robert, the response for me was just tremendous. You know, the young people all around the country were so great. I became a Bobby Sox idol along with Rock and Tony and Tab. There were the 4 of us, you know, and all of a sudden I was just like somebody struck a match, you know. And it was great.
Well, let's look at the picture, because I think it's a terrific movie. I think it's one of the best musicals made, certainly in the 50s. And Susan Hayward's great in it. Got an Oscar nomination for it.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
And kind of really made her a superstar. She was a star before this, but this really made her a
She worked very hard on this picture, very hard. And, you know, David Wayne's wonderful, and Rory Calhoun is
right. Thelma Ritter got an Oscar nomination for it.
Yes, she did.
So it's quite a movie. So let's have a look. Here it is. And we're so glad you're here with us.
Thank you, Robert.
Here's the movie from 1952 in beautiful Technicolor, and as we say, directed by Walter Lang. Here's With a Song in My Heart.